The undercover cop who took down a Crips leader. It's 11:47 p.m. in a parking structure on the east side of Long Beach. You're on the third floor, standing next to a car that isn't yours, in clothes that aren't yours, with a name that isn't yours. The man across from you goes by Shotgun, 6'3", 240 pounds, blue rag hanging from his left pocket the way a flag hangs from a pole, deliberate, institutional, belonging to something older than either of you. He's been talking to you for 9 months. He just asked you to do something you cannot do. Not because it's illegal. Everything about the last 9 months has been illegal, by design, authorized in writing by a federal task force coordinator whose name you've never spoken out loud. You cannot do what Shotgun is asking because what Shotgun is asking will require you to be in 2 places at once, the place where Darius King would be and the place where you actually are. And for the first time in 9 months, those 2 places are not the same room. He's watching your face. Shotgun has survived 23 years in the Rollin' 60s Crips by watching faces. He reads hesitation the way a doctor reads an X-ray, not with emotion, with information. You have approximately 4 seconds before hesitation becomes evidence. This is not the beginning. This is the result of the beginning. To understand how you're standing in a parking structure on the 3rd floor at 11:47 p.m. having the most important 4 seconds of your professional life, you have to go back to a Tuesday morning 16 months ago when a task force supervisor named Wheeler put a folder on a table in front of you and said 3 words: "We need inside." 16 months before the parking structure. You were 34 years old, 12 years on the force, the last 5 in the gang and narcotics division working the east side of Long Beach. You have made over 200 arrests. You have testified in 41 trials. You know the Rollin' 60s Crips the way a surgeon knows anatomy, the structure, the pathways, where things connect and where they break. What you don't know, and what no one on the outside knows, is the man at the center. Raymond "Shotgun" Holloway, 51 years old, original Crip, active since 1989. In 3 decades, he has been arrested 9 times and convicted twice, once for possession, 18 months, 1994, once for assault, 3 years, 2001. Since then, nothing. Not because he stopped, because he got better at distance. Shotgun doesn't touch product, doesn't touch money, doesn't give orders that can be recorded, texted, or testified to. He talks, he suggests, he implies, and the people around him are so conditioned to his implications that a raised eyebrow is a command. The FBI has been building a RICO case against Holloway for 6 years. They have wire intercepts, surveillance footage, informant testimony, financial records. What they don't have is a direct link. Every chain of evidence has one broken link, and that link is always the space between Shotgun and the action. Wheeler slides you the folder. Inside, 8 photographs, a financial summary, a map of territory, and a 1-page brief on Holloway's known associates. Wheeler says, "We need inside, the room where Holloway talks." You look at the photographs, then you look at Wheeler. You say, "How long?" Wheeler says, "Until it's enough." You say, "Yes." Your wife is 4 months pregnant with your 2nd child. You say yes anyway. You will spend the next 2 months wondering whether that decision was courage or cowardice disguised as purpose. Constructing Darius King. The cover identity is built by a 3-person team over 8 weeks. You will be Darius King, born in Compton, raised in the system after your mother died of an overdose when you were 11, a detail chosen because it generates sympathy quickly and is impossible to verify through normal channels. Juvenile record for car theft at 14. Adult record, 2 possession charges, 1 conviction, 14 months at Corcoran, released 2021. The Corcoran record is the key. Rollin' 60s has significant presence inside Corcoran. If Darius King did 14 months without incident, that means one of 2 things: he was protected or he was respected. The cover story is built to imply the second. A real former inmate, a man doing federal time who agreed to cooperate, confirms that he remembers a Darius from his block. He doesn't remember a last name. He doesn't remember details. He remembers a face, roughly. That's enough for the story to have roots. Your handler is an FBI agent named Cortez, not a street name, his actual last name, which amuses neither of you. You meet on alternate Wednesdays at a dry cleaner on Pacific Coast Highway. You carry in a garment bag with 2 shirts. You leave with the same garment bag, plus whatever information has been passed in the lining of the bag going the other direction. It is a system so low-tech, it is effectively undetectable. You move into a 1-bedroom apartment on East Anaheim Street in Long Beach. The apartment smells like old carpet and freeway exhaust. You own a 2007 Honda Accord, a prepaid phone, and $460. Darius King is starting from scratch. That's the detail that makes him credible. The corner in the code. The entry point is a man named Loco. Loco is 40 years old, which in this world is generational. He has been active since he was 15 and outlived so many people he grew up with that he carries their absence the way other men carry photographs. He runs a detail shop on Atlantic Avenue that cleans cars and 3 days a week processes cash from 3 trap houses within a 4-block radius. You find Loco through a legal channel. He is the listed manager of the detail shop, which is a registered business with a city license. You bring the Accord in for a wash. You tip $20 on a $12 wash. You come back the following week. You tip the same. On the 3rd visit, Loco comes out from the back and dries the car himself. He says, "You live around here?" You say, "East Anaheim, new in town. Used to run with some people in Compton, looking to get situated." In this language, looking to get situated is not a job application. It's a declaration of category. It tells Loco that you are a man with a history looking for alignment, not asking for it. Asking is weakness, declaring is introduction. Loco says nothing. He finishes the car, hands you the keys, you drive away. The following Monday, a man you don't know knocks on your apartment door and tells you Loco wants to talk. That knock is the first door opening. Over the next 6 weeks, Loco gives you small work, not criminal yet, errands, driving, being present at specific locations at specific times without being told why. This is how organizations vet people, not by asking questions, but by watching how someone behaves when they don't know they're being watched. Darius King behaves like Darius King. Darius King is patient, reliable, and never asks why. In week 7, Loco hands you a paper bag with $8,000 in it and an address. He says, "Deliver this. Don't count it. Don't open it. Don't be late." You deliver it. That night, in a garment bag at the dry cleaner, you report the address. Cortez says, "Good, that's a distribution point we've been trying to locate for 3 years." You drive home and park and sit in the Accord for a while. You're thinking about the weight of the paper bag, not the money, the way it felt in your hand, like something that could be anything, and was, and you carried it anyway. Inside the structure. The Rollin' 60s operate no way like the organizations you've studied in briefings. The briefings describe a gang. What you discover from the inside is closer to a municipal government that has been running parallel to the official one for 30 years. There is established protocol for dispute resolution between members. There is a system of dues, described as taxes, collected weekly from every operation within the territory, not as extortion, but as membership contribution to a collective fund that pays for lawyers, bail, and the families of members who are incarcerated. You attend a meeting where this fund is discussed openly, with line items like a budget committee. There is a social infrastructure, a back-to-school drive every August that distributes backpacks and supplies to 300 children. A Thanksgiving dinner that feeds 400 people annually, run out of a church whose pastor has never asked too many questions about where the food budget comes from. A summer basketball league for teenagers that has been running uninterrupted for 19 years.
None of this makes what they do acceptable. The trap houses run 20 hours a day. The violence, when it comes, is calculated and final. 3 men have been killed in territory disputes in the 18 months before you arrived, but the complexity of it, the way the harm and the community are not separate things but woven together, is something the briefings never prepared you for. You bring this to Cortez one Wednesday. You say, "It's not what I expected." Cortez says, "It never is. Stay focused on Holloway." Holloway, shotgun, the center of everything you're here to document. You get your first look at him in month 3, at a cookout behind a house on West 65th Street. He is exactly what his file describes physically: large, unhurried, the kind of stillness that comes not from passivity, but from certainty. He moves through the cookout the way a principal moves through a school hallway. Everyone adjusts slightly when he passes, without anyone acknowledging that they're doing it. He shakes your hand once, looks at you the way all men at his level look at newcomers, not with suspicion, with measurement. He says, "Loco says you're solid." You say, "Trying to be." He nods. That's all. He walks away, but Loco catches your eye from across the yard and gives you the smallest possible acknowledgement. You've been seen. Being seen is the whole objective of the last 3 months. The weight of month 5. In month 5, a man named Popcorn gets caught stealing from the collective fund. Not a lot, $1,100 over 3 months, redirected to pay a debt he owed to someone outside the organization. He's brought before a room of 8 men, including you. The money is documented. He admits it. His reasoning is heard. The room deliberates. You are not asked to vote. You are asked to witness. In this organization, witnessing is how new members are brought into the moral architecture of the group. You are shown how things work so that you understand, implicitly, what happens to people who do what Popcorn did. Popcorn is stripped of his position and his income. He is not hurt, he is simply no longer part of the structure that has, for 6 years, been his entire economic and social reality. He walks out of the room, and you watch his face as he crosses the threshold, and you understand, clearly, that what just happened to him is worse than a physical punishment would have been. He is now nowhere. Nowhere in this world is a condition that some men don't survive. That night, your wife calls. Your son says, "Daddy," into the phone. He has just learned the word. He says it with the satisfaction of someone who has discovered something irrevocable. You stay on the phone without speaking for longer than is normal. Your wife says, "Are you okay?" You say, "I'm good. I'll call you tomorrow." You won't call tomorrow. Darius King doesn't have a wife. Darius King doesn't have a son who just learned to say daddy. And for the first time in 5 months, the distance between who you are and who you're pretending to be feels not like a professional gap, but like a physical one, like something you could fall into. Month 7, the room where shotgun talks. The moment Cortez has been working toward for 6 years, the moment the FBI has been building toward, the moment the entire architecture of Darius King was constructed for, it arrives on a Tuesday evening in month 7. Loco brings you to a house on West 61st Street. Back room, 6 men including Holloway. This is not a cookout, not a meeting about community funds. This is Shotgun talking through a distribution expansion, 3 new territories, 2 new wholesale connections, the logistics of moving product across a supply chain that extends from Long Beach to 2 other California cities. He doesn't issue orders, he talks through problems out loud, conversationally, the way a CEO might walk through a strategic challenge with senior staff. The men in the room respond, refine, suggest. Holloway listens. Occasionally he says, "That works," or "Not yet." You sit in the corner and say nothing. New members don't speak in this room, but you hear everything. Names, quantities, locations, routes, the financial architecture of an operation generating an estimated $6 million annually, all of it going directly into your memory because you carry nothing that can be searched, nothing that can be found, nothing that links Darius King to a dry cleaner on Pacific Coast Highway. After the meeting, Holloway stays back. Everyone else files out. He looks at you. He says, "Loco trusts you. Loco doesn't trust easy." You say, "I try to earn it." He says, "What do you want out of this?" The question is a test, not of your story, of your character. Men who say money fail it. Men who say respect fail it differently. You have rehearsed the answer for 7 months. You say, "Stability. I've been moving since I was 11. I want somewhere that holds." He's quiet for a moment. Then, "That I understand." He leaves. You sit in the empty room for 2 minutes before you follow. 2 minutes because your hands are shaking and you need them to stop before you walk outside. The almost. Month 9. The operation is close to complete. You have documented enough to support 31 federal charges, including RICO conspiracy, drug trafficking, and money laundering. Cortez tells you that the prosecutorial team is ready. They need 3 more weeks, 4 at most, to finalize the indictments. 3 weeks, 4 at most. On a Thursday in week 2 of those 3 weeks, Holloway calls you directly, not through Loco, his actual voice on the phone, which he has never done before in 9 months. He says he needs you for something this weekend. He gives you an address. He says to come alone and say nothing to anyone. You report it to Cortez. Cortez is quiet for longer than you'd like. Then he says, "We don't know what this is. Could be a test, could be an assignment, could be something we don't want you involved in." He pauses. Could also be that he wants to bring you further in. You say, or he knows. Cortez says, "We don't have any indication he knows, but I want an extraction team on standby." You say, "If I call for extraction now, the whole operation burns." Cortez says, "I know." Neither of you says anything for a moment. Then you say, "I'll go." The address is a parking structure on the east side of Long Beach, 3rd floor. This is where we came in. The 4 seconds. Shotgun tells you what he needs. He needs Darius King to be present at a specific location on Saturday evening as a witness to a transaction, a large one, a transaction that will close a supply deal that Holloway has been negotiating for 4 months. He needs someone he trusts, who has no paper trail, no known association with the other party, who can stand in a room and confirm that both sides honored the agreement. The location is a warehouse in Wilmington. Saturday is the same day your son turns 1 year old. That is not the reason you cannot do it. You cannot do it because on Saturday, the federal task force is executing a parallel operation in Wilmington, a separate investigation, no coordination with your unit, that Cortez only learned about 48 hours ago. If Darius King is in that warehouse on Saturday and federal agents enter, 2 things happen. Your cover is destroyed, and every case built on your 9 months of testimony collapses under the challenge that the operation was compromised. You have 4 seconds to find a reason Darius King cannot be in Wilmington on Saturday. Shotgun is watching your face. You say, "I'm in, but I need to know if we're talking early or late, because I've got a thing Saturday morning I can't miss. Probation check-in. If I skip it, I catch a violation, and I'm no good to you for 3 months. Probation is in Darius King's file. The check-in is fabricated, but the probation is real enough in his record to be verifiable. Shotgun looks at you for 2 seconds. Then, late, 8 p.m. You say, "I'm there." He nods. He walks to his car. You stand on the 3rd floor of the parking structure and watch his taillights descend. Then, you call Cortez from a payphone 3 blocks away and tell him that the Saturday operation in Wilmington needs to be moved or delayed because you are going to be in that warehouse at 8 p.m. And if it isn't, 9 months of federal evidence walks out the door with Raymond Holloway's attorney. Cortez says, "I'll make some calls." The Saturday operation in Wilmington is moved to Sunday. The transaction, the takedown. The warehouse in Wilmington, Saturday, 8:07 p.m. You stand against the wall while Holloway closes a deal for 40 kilograms of product with a supplier from the San Fernando Valley. 2 men on each side, you on the wall, there and not there, the way good witnesses are.
You memorize every face, every word, the number, $380,000 in 2 bags, and the handshake that closes it. You drive back to Long Beach. You call Cortez from the payphone. You describe what you saw in exact sequence. Cortez says, "That's the link. That's the direct link we needed." 12 days later, at 5:55 a.m. on a Wednesday, federal agents execute warrants simultaneously at 14 locations across Long Beach, Compton, and Carson. Raymond Holloway is arrested in his home on West 67th Street. According to the arresting agent's report, he came to the door already dressed, slacks, clean shirt, like he had been awake, like some part of him had been keeping the lights on for this particular morning for a long time. He does not ask who gave him up. That is the detail that stays with you. A man with 32 years of operational instinct, and he does not ask. Maybe he already knew.
Maybe Shotgun, who has survived this long by reading faces, read yours somewhere in the last 9 months and decided that whatever you were also someone he had let in. And letting someone in was its own kind of decision, its own kind of choice, regardless of what they turned out to be. Loco is arrested at the detail shop, hands still wet from washing a car. 38 total arrests, 17 federal charges. The prosecutorial team estimates a 94% conviction rate based on the evidence collected. The case file runs 4,000 pages. A significant portion of it is testimony that lived inside your head for 9 months, reported in increments at a dry cleaner on Pacific Coast Highway. What comes after? You were pulled out the morning of the warrants. New apartment, different city, identity transition protocol. Your real name goes back on your badge, but not on any public record connected to the case. For legal and safety reasons, the undercover officer is referred to in all filings as UC7. UC7 receives a commendation. UC7's family receives a security review. UC7's wife, who spent 9 months living with a man who came home to a different address 4 nights a week and could not explain why, is given a formal letter of acknowledgement from the task force. She frames it, hangs it in the hallway. You walk past it every day and cannot decide what it means. The department assigns you to a desk for 8 months while the psychological evaluation runs its course. You see a therapist named Dr. Amara twice a week. She is patient with silence in a way that unsettles you, because in the world you just left, silence was never neutral. She asks you once, "What was the hardest moment?" You think for a long time, not the parking structure, not popcorn, not the warehouse in Wilmington. You say, "There was a basketball league, ran for 19 years, teenagers, it still runs." She waits. You say, "My case ended it, not the league, the organization that funded it. And the league doesn't know that yet, but it will when the money stops, and the teenagers don't know that the man who got them off the street for the summer was the same man who ran 40 kilos out of Wilmington every other month." She says, "Can both things be true?" You say, "They were. That's the problem. They were both true at the same time, and nothing in my training covered what to do with that." She writes something down. You look at the window. The case of Raymond Shotgun Holloway goes to trial 14 months after his arrest. He is convicted on 9 of 11 counts, sentenced to 27 years. He is 51 years old. The math is what it is. At sentencing, his attorney reads a statement from Holloway. It is 3 sentences. It does not mention betrayal. It does not mention informants. It says, "I built something. I know what I built it with. I hope the parts that were good outlast the parts that weren't." You are not in the courtroom. UC7 does not attend trials. But Cortez sends you the statement by text that evening. You read it twice. Then you put the phone down and go watch your son eat dinner, which he does with the focused intensity of someone for whom every meal is still a discovery. He looks up and sees you and says, "Daddy," with the same satisfaction as always. You say, "Hey, buddy." That's all. That's the whole conversation. But it's the realest thing you've said in over a year, because it didn't require a cover story. It didn't require memory management. It didn't require you to be someone else entirely so that someone else could eventually be held accountable. It just required you to be there. The parking structure is empty now. The detail shop on Atlantic Avenue closed 6 weeks after Loco's arrest. The city issued a notice of abandonment. Someone put plywood over the windows. Someone else spray painted something on the plywood that you haven't gone to read because Darius King used to drive past that shop, and you don't go to that part of Long Beach anymore. The basketball league held its final game of the season 2 weeks after the arrests. Nobody announced it was the last one. The money simply stopped coming, and without the money, the gym rental lapsed, and without the gym rental, the league stopped having a place to play. 47 teenagers who were spending their summers in a structured program are spending this summer somewhere else. Where they end up is a question the case file does not address. The case file ends at conviction. What happens in the space left behind is someone else's jurisdiction. You think about this on the drive to work. You think about it the way you think about all the things from that year that don't have a clean resolution. Not obsessively, not guiltily, just with the low-level awareness of someone who knows that accountability and consequence are not the same thing, and justice and completeness are not the same thing either. Raymond Holloway will be 78 years old when he is eligible for release. The Roland 60s Crips are still operating. A new structure formed within 4 months of the arrests. New lieutenant, new wholesale connection, same territory. The organization isn't the people. The people are replaceable. The organization is the position, and the position does not go to prison. This is the thing that 9 months inside teaches you that no briefing ever could. You arrested the man at the center. You documented the architecture. You gave the prosecutors what they needed to put 38 people away. You did the job completely, at significant cost to yourself and your family, and the version of yourself that existed before Darius King. And 3 blocks from the detail shop on Atlantic Avenue, there is a corner. And on that corner, right now, there is a young man who is new to the neighborhood and looking to get situated. And Loco's replacement is already watching him. The machine doesn't need Raymond Holloway to run. It never did. It only needed someone standing in for Raymond, the same way you stood in for Darius King, filling a position, serving a function, until the position moves on without you. The only difference between you and the man on that corner is that you knew what you were walking into. He doesn't. And that is the part that stays with you at 11:47 p.m. on the nights you can't sleep, longer and louder than anything that happened in any parking structure, any warehouse, any room where men sat around a table and talked about what they were building and what they wanted it to become.